Oh, it is. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Remarkable Shift Live series show. I am your host, Dr. Vernita White, and I am so excited to have you here. So if you don't know, this is a live series show called The Remarkable Shift, and this is the space where elite professionals and high-performing organizations elevate their leadership, amplify their authority, and dominate their industries. So I work with thought leaders, industry titans, corporate executives, and trailblazing intrapreneurs and entrepreneurs to bridge the gap between expertise and influence, turning high-level vision into high-impact execution. So around here, I don't just develop leaders, I position them as a definitive authority in their industries. And unlike traditional leadership programs and theoretical strategies, I deliver real-world results-driven solutions that establish you as the authority in your field, optimize decision-making, and create lasting market dominance. And why is this important? It is important because authority isn't given, it is claimed. So if you are ready to command your space, let's go. Let's get into it. And so today we're talking about the growth revolution, how small shifts lead to big results. And so we're going to dive into a few things, but a lot of you probably know about growth mindset already. And you probably already know that your biggest breakthroughs don't come from big giant steps or big giant leaps. And we love those, right? And we love a quantum leap and a quantum growth and exponential this and expansion that. But the day-to-day things, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, it's all about those small shifts that we take that changes our lives. And those are the things that we need to embrace, focus more on, and make those a priority so that we can unlock potential and lead ourselves and the people around us to extraordinary results. So many people believe that their abilities, skills, and circumstances are fixed. And you might be thinking, like, no, that's not me. Well, yes, it is. And in order for you to get the remarkable results that you desire, you have to be honest with yourself. So just think about it. Is there something that you've been wanting to achieve, but deep down inside, you know that you are probably thinking, or you're acting as if your abilities and your skills or circumstances are just, it is what it is, right? Oh, I don't have my bracelet on. I usually have a bracelet on that says it is what it is. And sometimes that's true, but not in the context of what of the things that we can control, the things that we can take charge of and move forward. So today we're flipping that belief and we are diving into some small yet powerful mindset shifts to spark a major transformation, whether that's in your career, relationships, your personal growth, your business, any area, because I'm going to talk more about this. They're about between, well, depending on how you want to look at it, and you hear me say this, between 9 and 18 areas of your life that you can focus on and expand. But you can pick one of those areas and all of this will work. Now, this isn't just like a formula to say, okay, do exactly what I say and you're going to get the outcomes. I am all about helping you think more strategically and how to lead yourself, which will in turn help you lead wherever you are in your career, business, family, relationship, any of those areas. Far too long, a lot of us have followed things thinking that if we do these exact things, we're going to get somebody's same exact results. But I'm here to tell you the reason why you're probably not getting those results, even though you are smart, you are capable, you are brilliant, it's the mindset piece. And nobody wants to talk about mindset. Nobody wants to really invest in mindset, learn more about that. So let's talk about just change it to mind shifts, reframe it to mind shifts. So think about this. And my background is in education, so I've studied this lady all throughout my career. Even in my professional space, we talked about her. I think a lot of leadership people talk about her, and I want to say in the business space too. But Dr. Carol Dweck, she coined the term growth mindset. And I know a lot of people use it as a buzzword, but we're going to break it down from that, break it down beyond just a buzzword. And so we're going to go back to the basics. So what is growth? Well, let's talk about a fixed mindset, because if you don't have a growth mindset, you're like, well, what do I have? A fixed mindset. And again, some of you may be saying, oh no, I'm just open to learning all kind of things. And that's not necessarily true, right? Because if it was, you would have the results in a particular area that you want. So a fixed mindset, you say something like, I'm not good at this and I'll never be good at it. How many of you, and I'll talk about business and career, and then you can apply this to any other area of your life. Of course, a lot of us, when we went the traditional route, or if you didn't go the traditional route, but you did, corporate, started from the bottom, and I, took myself up to the top. It was still like placed inside of you that it was possible. And you knew that you could do it, even though it got hard at times. But just looking at the environment that you were in, the conversations that you were having, you knew that you could do it. Even when challenges came up, you knew that you could overcome them some way, somehow, because either somebody else did it, somebody else showed you, or you were just so determined that you were going to get on the other side of that. However, you may take it out of the place that you've been thriving and being in success, and the place where you've been successful, and you look at another area and you're like, you know what? Let's say you were in your career and you skyrocketed to the top, and now you want to start a business, and you're like, you know what? All this right here, I am not good at that. And I'll be honest, I was like that, because business, when you really understand what business is and not what some of these general business coaches are telling you about, even if they have a business, but I'm not gonna go off on my tangent. When you really start understanding what business is, I was like, oh my gosh, this is more complicated than calculus and all of the mathematics that I study, even all of the research stats and things that I study. I am not going to be good at this. And for a couple of years, that belief was in my mind. It's like, I can do all the other things, but the actual aspect of business, I think that's what's been holding me back in certain areas, because I'm like, oh, I am not going to be good at this. But then I had to shift it. So that's a fixed mindset. You're like, it is what it is. I'm never going to be good at this. So why even bother? How many of you are like that? Why even bother? Why even start a book? Why even go try to learn a new language? Why take, that dance class or learn that instrument? Or why, venture out and get it into a new relationship? Why join a new networking group? Whatever it is, you're like, why bother? I'm never going to be good at it. I'm never going to be accepted. It's never going to happen. And you may not say those words, but your actions are saying that, and you're subconsciously saying that to yourself. So you are operating in a fixed mindset. And as soon as you're honest about it, things will start to shift. Just like I was with truly understanding business, like for real business, not, oh, just get some clients and make some money and then do that. No. I'm talking about real business. And then I was like, okay, I'm not good. I had to tell myself, and this is the growth mindset, I'm not good at this yet, but I can learn and improve. And I want you to know, like the people I know that I'm talking to, you have probably multiple degrees, multiple titles, been in multiple positions, tremendous amount of accolades, all the things. And I'll say it's probably a little embarrassing when you're like, I don't know how to do this, because you spent so many years being the expert, being the professional, being the go-to person, being that chick, that guy, and so when you're coming into a new arena and it's like, you want me to start all over again? And in a way, yes, like you're never starting like from complete scratch, right? But you're starting over with your mindset. You know what? Hey, I don't have to be good at this. I don't know this. This is new, but I can learn and improve just like I did with everything else. You can't tell me the moment that you started in your, even if you, like, some people were, they just went right into business, and I thought that was interesting. Like, a lot of people think that everyone just started like in the corporate space or the professional space and then jumped to business. No, there are people who, from little kids or straight out of college, if they went, or had some kind of trade, and they just go into business. Isn't that interesting? I thought it was. But anyway, you spend all that time being that person, but you don't have to know it, and you can let yourself off the hook. And I think I was about to say, sometimes it's embarrassing to feel like you're supposed to know this. Like I was, I'm like, I got 5 degrees, right? I should not be struggling to understand what it takes to grow an actual company and business. But then I had to say, well, chick, it's okay, because as soon as you walked into whatever you were deciding to do, you didn't know how to do that. That's where I was going. When you were in the corporate space, and as soon as you got that first entry level job, you didn't just say, you know what, I know how to do every single role. And like, if you're the VP or any area of the C-suite, you didn't walk in saying, oh, I know exactly how to do that. You learned as you went, and you were able to progress because you had a growth mindset. Again, your actions, these are not the things that you are, you know, focusing on. You're not waking up or every day and say, I got a growth mindset. You're not operating your business or your professional space or, any area of your life saying, oh, it's a growth mindset today. No, your actions are doing it because you're like, you know what? I don't know it yet, but I'm gonna still work towards it. Or, we learned that in school. Like, I keep going through all these things, and I probably didn't graduate yet, or I didn't finish that class yet, I didn't pass that test yet, but I want to keep going until I improve. So why don't we approach those things in multiple areas of our lives? Because sometimes it's like we're embarrassed, right? We've done all the things, and you want me to come back here and start fresh? Yes. But if you reframe your mind and say, you know what, it's actually easier when you just say, I don't have to know any of this. I am just open, and just let it all pour into me, instead of going into something I have to get this on the first try. And so one thing is to understand is that growth mindset isn't about blind optimism or constant positivity. There's a thing like, people say like toxic masculinity. I'm just using that as a word. I'm not saying that I believe in it or anything like that. But there's a thing that's called toxic positivity as well, in case you don't know, where you're just always saying, you know what, I can just think positive thoughts, and the positive thoughts are just going to come in and just make everything better, and you're just overly positive. No, that's when you're delusional. Now, don't get me wrong. There are certain cases where you need to be delulu to make some things work, because you're operating on like this massive faith. But this is not what growth mindset is. It is about accepting your failures and your setbacks as part of the success, and learning from them instead of fearing them. And again, you're probably saying like, well, duh, Dr. V, that's common sense, but are you actually doing it? And just like I said, and I didn't say it at the beginning of this, look at whatever your vision is for your life. And if you don't have a vision, comment growth down below, and then we can have a chat about that. But you have to start with your big vision. And then within your vision, you start looking at the milestones or your goals that you're trying to accomplish. We're wrapping up Q3 at the time of this episode. I mean, we're in the 3rd month of Q1. No, not Q3 yet. Slow down. So we're in the 3rd month of Q1. And, so just think about where your goals are. And then think about the growth mindset and how you have approached them. Whatever it is, have you approached it with the growth mindset? So if you did, that means you're closer. Even if you are not on track to reach that goal, you're closer than you were in January. But if you're further away from reaching that goal, you're probably operating in a fixed mindset. And only you can answer that, or you can have a conversation. So someone like me can say, no, let's look at this from a bird's eye view with a different perspective, and let's have an honest conversation and move forward with that. So let's not just say, I'm just going to, positively think myself into the results I want. No, it is about how are you reframing those thoughts in your mind, and then taking the action. Because a lot of people get caught up into, oh, I just have to think about it, or if I just change my attitude about something, yeah, that's part of it. But then you do the action, you take the steps, you make the shifts, you have to do things, you execute. All right. So now we're going to talk about a few steps. There are 5 steps. And again, these are not earth shattering things. But the reason why I'm bringing them to you is because I want you to get that goal in your mind and then walk yourself through these steps. So me just talking about this in general is not going to benefit you. It's going to be like, oh, okay, that was cool. You might take some notes or you say, oh, yeah, that was great. But if you really want the remarkable shift to happen, you have that vision or that goal in your mind, and then you walk yourself through this so that it can be more relatable to you. And then that you can start embodying that, because once you embody that, then you'll start knowing like you know, and then you'll feel this in your body and to get you into action. So step 1, reframe failure as feedback. We've heard that before, but what does that really mean? So if you launch something, and let's talk about a business part. If you launch something or you had a product or you had a service and you're like, I'm putting it out there, and you learn the strategy, you implement the strategy, and nothing happened. Instead of saying all that sucks, I used to do that. I'd be like, all that sucks. I'm going to change it completely to do something else until I worked with a coach. Look, I'll tell y'all, like I got people, coach, and it was like, no, this is the part you did wrong. Oh, snap. So you mean to tell me all the time I've been changing stuff, that wasn't the actual problem? So I had to look at all of those. I had to go back and look at all the failed things and say, oh, this is what, the market was saying, or the industry was saying, or this is how I need to shift, and we're going to go biblical. This is what God had been telling me to do, but I was, in my feelings, I want to do something else. So all of that was feedback. And it's like, oh, I didn't fail. I just found all the ways that this one thing did not work. And again, I know it sounds so easy and so simple, but it can be a challenging thing to do. And it is a daily practice that you have to do with yourself. So some things that I know people don't do, I used to do this with my students, and then I realized that a lot of adults don't do this anymore, is you have to reflect. You have to really sit there, either write it out, talk it out, or something. But you have to ask yourself, what were the lessons that I needed to learn? What happened here, right? And say, okay, and go back. A lot of times we just want to just put the failure or the setback, over there in the corner somewhere and keep going forward. And that is not the best thing for you to do, because now you're just building up a pile of stuff, and one day something is going to explode. So that's one way to deal with it. And then celebrate your failures. I know that is like not popular. You're like, I am not, like, what, who wants to do that? But if you start reframing your mind, say, you know what, I took a step that a lot of people won't take. I've done this in my career, my business, my family. We've done this, and or just for your personal self that no one's going to take. So what? I didn't get all of the results, or I didn't get the outcome I wanted, but I'm better off that I took these steps. And there are so many people who have not done it, who won't do it. So that's why you celebrate your failures as well as your success. So let's not, lean. We need to keep this in flow, and keep this in perspective. So you don't just say, oh, I celebrate my failures, but don't celebrate your success, because then you're focusing a lot on your failures. Then you don't focus so much on your success that you forget about your failures. So you need both. All right. So step 2 is focus on effort over outcomes. Now let's be careful, because, a few episodes ago, I talked about how effort is not enough. But in the context of growth mindset, and in the context of what your vision is, like I told you, your vision or the goal or milestone that you have in mind, look at the effort that you've been making and praise yourself for the results that you're getting in the process. Now, this is where, and I won't get too deep into it, this is where you have to start tracking things. When I was working in the education system, it was progress monitoring. And I'm pretty sure you have a version of this where you're working. When you track your steps, then you know that you're getting closer to where you want to be. If you're not tracking anything, then it's like everything is all willy-nilly, or you don't realize how close you are, you don't realize how far away you are until a deadline comes. You're like, oh snap, right? And what gets you've heard this phrase, I think, is what gets measured gets repeated. And it's something else. It's like whatever's on the calendar gets done, or whatever's tracked gets I forgot all the things, but you know where I'm going with this. Whatever you are focusing on, that is what you are going to focus on. Those are the things that are going to happen. So if it's a workout, you track your workouts. Did I, instead of just saying, oh yeah, I'm going to get up today, but did you do it? Did you mark it off the calendar? I used to have a physical thing. I need to get back to that where I would print out little calendars or I would make them so I can physically see the X's off of something or the tick marks on things. When you start doing that, that starts building up your confidence, that starts building up some habits, that starts building your consistency muscle and things like that. So those are the things how you focus. That's how you focus on effort and not just saying, well, I put in the work, I work hard. Very a nuanced thing, right? So instead of saying that, oh, look at me, I'm so talented at doing this, but you can say to yourself, like, look how much work I put into this. Like if it's writing a book, when I was writing my second book, it was like, okay, I'm going to get these number of pages done a day, or I'm going to set this block of time, or I'm going to have this amount of words done, and I will put the word counts. And it wasn't so much like, oh, I wake up every day and write. What I praised on or celebrated was like, okay, great. I wrote this number of words, or I wrote this number of pages per day. And I am so proud of myself. And so that way you're focused on effort instead of, my goodness, when is this book ever going to be done? So step number 3 is embrace the challenges. So look for opportunities to stretch yourself beyond your current abilities. You can do that, of course, in business. And, you hear a lot of people say that being an entrepreneur is like a faith movement. It is a personal development exercise in itself. And again, this is not, if you're trying, you don't have to go into a full-time thing. Just starting something on the side is as well. Same with your career. If you know that you've been comfortable sitting at a certain level, and then maybe it's time to stretch and go to another level. Like maybe you never thought about being CEO or something, because in your mind, all you can think of CEO of Fortune 500 companies, but don't they have CEOs at other levels, right? So it's not saying that you don't believe in yourself, but being a CEO at a lower level company is still stretching beyond where you currently are, right? So let me know if you're tracking with me, and if you still want to have conversation, or if you want to take a deeper dive into that, comment growth down below, and I will reach back out to you, I promise. Step 4, or let me go back to embracing the challenges. So you have to think for yourself, and this again, you have to be honest. When you set your goals, now I believe if you truly set a vision, your vision is way bigger than you can ever imagine, and you may not see your full vision come to fruition in your lifetime. I'm just saying that's a huge vision. But what you can see in your lifetime are certain milestones and certain goals that you can set. All right. With that being said, you have to ask yourself, are those goals and those milestones, are they challenging enough for you? And I know, like I said, I work with brilliant people. So I know that you're probably operating at 75%, and you have people around you saying, oh my gosh, that is fantastic. Look at you. And if you came to me with that, I'll be like, really? Is that stretching you? Is that really maxing you out at your potential? And can you go beyond that? Like I would ask you those questions. I mean, there, I'll just leave it at that. I will call you out. Like, are you operating your brilliance or your BS? you know, and so if you're finding yourself frustrated, I'm pretty sure you're operating in your BS and not your brilliance. Now, your brilliance can be challenging, but it won't be frustrated, because now you're working towards something, and you know that you're growing, and you know it's going to be benefit you on the long run. So it's like working out. No, a lot of people don't like working out. You like the results, but you don't like working out. But then you can get into, where you just lifting like, 5 pounds, and, oh yeah, at first it was a struggle, but now it's easy. Oh yeah, 5 pounds. And then you could say, I work out every single day, 7 days a week, I'm working out, and I got my weights and things like that. But is that really good? Knowing that if you bump this up to like maybe 10, 15 pounds, well, let's say 15 pounds, you may not get the 7 days a week, but how would you feel if you're going to start off with 3 days a week with the 15 pounds, and then you're like, oh my gosh, because now that's challenging you, now that's stretching you, and you can apply that to multiple areas of your life. All right, number 4, surround yourself with growth-oriented people. People like to say like-minded people. I'm gonna stop saying that. Because sometimes you don't need to be around people that's like you or think the way you do. Because like if all of you are just thinking the same way, then you're just gonna still be in like kind of this cesspool of things. So you want to be around people that are growth minded, meaning that they will go through all of those steps. They embrace those failures. They constantly step outside of their comfort zone or push past their limit lines, because you can still be around successful people and then there's no one really growing. Everyone is still like stagnant, right? So I'm going to make sure that I don't keep saying like-minded people. I had a word, I can't even remember what it was, but it's similar to growth-minded. You want to be around growth-minded people because they will have either more success than you or even less success than you, but it's about how they think about things. And you might be at the top of your game somewhere and you're still feeling down, or you can't just quite, break through something, that someone who may not have that level of success, but they've overcome something else, they can help you see a different perspective. And so you want to think about that when you are surrounding yourself with growth oriented people. Now, one way, is joining masterminds, but a true mastermind. And I'm not going to get too deep into that because people are throwing around the word mastermind, and that's not a real mastermind. That's just a group of people doing the same thing. That's not a true mastermind. But anyway, or you can find yourself, but true masterminds, yes, or going into certain programs, look at the type of people that are coming to the events and who's signing up for those programs. Something that I did not do. You want to vet the people, not only from where you may be learning from, but who's also coming into the group, because that's the dynamic, and those are the people you're going to be interacting with, and that's who's going to be bouncing off ideas. So either they're going to be energy suckers or they're going to be contributors, but you make sure you're contributing as well. But you want to make sure that you're around people who are going to constantly have you standing on your tippy toes, like, how else can I get to a certain level? And again, it's not always about money. It's not always about growing your business, not always about just climbing the corporate ladder or things like that. But it could be somebody like, who's helping me stand on my tippy toes in the area of parenting, or being a supportive husband or wife, or a better husband or wife, or a better sibling, or a community leader, and things like that. So let's branch out our perspective about what success is. And then number 5, adopt a not yet mentality. And I'm like, I don't even want to do this. I'm just being honest, because you're like, and let me know if this resonates with you. You've worked like a lot, hard, blood, sweat, tears, to get to a certain point. And then God will be like, okay, time for something else. And you're like, okay, yay, a new journey. But then it's like, okay, shouldn't we be getting, shouldn't this be happening right about now? Because in your mind, you're like, I spent all that time and my success came fast. Not really, but it feels that way once you're on the other side of that. So when it's time to do something else, you forget about the 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 decades of work that you put in to get to your spot where you are. And then when it's time for a shift, you're thinking like, all right, I don't put a year in, I put 6 months in, I put 3 years in, come on now, right? And so you have to adopt the not yet mentality. Means that I can do this and it may not be working right now, or I haven't accomplished it yet, right? So I can do this. I know I can do this, but I can't do this yet, but I will be able to do this. And so you write down the things that you're struggling with, and you say, well, can't run a business yet. I can't speak this language yet. I haven't been like the best parent yet. I haven't been the best wife or husband yet. I haven't been I haven't written my book yet, or whatever it is. Keep your vision and your goals in your mind, and then write down not yet, because then that'll help you to say, what, there's still hope, there's still a future, and it's going to start building back up your faith. And then that's how you are getting the growth mindset, instead of only focusing on what it is right now. Now, we don't be, you don't act like it's not there. Like, you acknowledge it, but you're saying, what, not yet. Have I released the 15, 30, whatever pounds? Instead of saying, man, I haven't released that weight up, I haven't released that yet, not yet, right? So you see how those small shifts can start expanding your mind. Like, you should, if you did this with me, or if you go back and do it, you'll start feeling like a literal release in your body because you've probably had so much tension built up around things. But if you allow yourself to either write things out, say them out loud so that energy can leave your body in some kind of way, then your whole system and stress levels will come down just a little bit so that you can focus on what you need to focus on and the things that should be a priority, because you realize that other things that are floating around have not been a priority. And that's why you're struggling. And those things are keeping you focused on your fixed mindset when there are things you can do for your growth mindset. All right. So I want to just end this with some common pitfalls in case you are still not believing me and and really understanding the importance of small shifts. So one thing is believing that a growth mindset means you'll never feel discouraged. I don't ever want people to think that. And you know what? Sometimes when people come into Christianity or starting their walk with God, or walk with God, or some of us who've been on this journey, you might get. It's easy to feel like, wait a minute, I thought I wasn't supposed to feel anything. I thought everything was supposed to be good. I thought I was supposed to, do all things through Christ and everything would be all right. But that's not it, because part of the scripture, and I can't remember exactly where it is, but Jesus did come and overcome the world, but he did say that there will be trouble, there will be struggles. But it was fear not or fret not. He still has overcome, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to experience anything. So same thing here, just because you're going to go through a growth mindset, just because you're going to go through all those activities and those steps and you're going to be doing great, there's still going to be times where you're going to feel a little discouraged. So it's better for you to know that now than to set yourself up for the okie doke. And I know you're like, oh, well, duh, but it's not a duh, because when you're shifting into a new space, when you've been successful, it's easy to forget that you struggled and you were frustrated and you were overwhelmed in that space too, because you're only looking at on the other side. But when it's time to do something new and you're expanding yourself and you're going outside of your comfort zone or pushing past that limit line, you're going to feel discouraged, because you probably haven't felt that over here in a while. But over here, when you go into it knowing that, you know what, its other thing is thinking that thinking growth is supposed to be linear. Now I know, like, when you grow, go straight up. Some of us go straight out, or when you see a tree go straight up. Like a lot of things, when you think things grow, they go straight up or they go linear. So either vertically or horizontally or diagonally, straight line. But that's not the case. If you go back, reflect on your journey, wherever you are, wherever you've been successful, and I invite you to do this, three things that you've been successful at. Go back and reflect and see that did everything work out in exact order, like 1, 2, 3, boom, this happened, or were things like curvy, up, down, round and round, and all of that. When you know that, understand that that's going to happen in this new space too. Growth is supposed to be messy and full of things and non-linear, and that's what makes it fun. And when you shift your thinking about, wow, this is going to be a great destination, think about this. I don't know if you all like road trips, but when you're on when you know that you're going on a road trip, do you just want to stay on the main road? Do you just want to stay on the highway and, let me just head down, just get there? Or do you like to, let me see what's around here. Let me take some back roads and things like that. That's where the fun is. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, sometimes you do just need to get where you're going to get. But in the most cases, this is a road trip. We know that there's a destination, but let's go ahead and enjoy the journey while we get there. But let's not stay too long on the journey, because we do need to hit the destination. But when you understand that, you're going to stop, you're going to start, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to get upset, you may have to reverse a little bit, you may have to turn around, then it is okay. And then the third one is confusing growth mindset with overworking. Growth happens in rest. And I'm not talking about the rest where you just don't do anything, but you're allowing yourself that time to really reflect and go back on those lessons and be grateful and show appreciation and all of those things, and really, allow your brain to just kind of calm down a little bit, and then, see what you've already done, take it all in. Just like when you're working out, if you're lifting, you can't lift. Well, it's not recommended that you constantly lift every single day and work that muscle group every single day. And then you're like, well, where's the gain? Where's the gain? Then the experts will tell you, when you rest, and when you work out and you actually allow your body to rest, I think it's something about where the muscles tear, the growth happen or the expansion happen. I think is when they start repairing themselves, but you won't know that it's repairing if you keep doing it. You have to allow it to rest. You have to stop, right? So that's why they weight train, different parts of the body, or, not every day. Same thing with an area of your life, or really in your mind. You're going to do things, but then you have to take a step back and then reflect and allow those things to repair, to gain a different perspective and get fresh insight. So it was not always just grinding into the crack of dawn or running yourself down into the ground. That is not a growth mindset. So I hope all of that resonate with you. Let me know what stood out for you. Let me know that you're really going to try this. And when you do this, come back down and come back and comment down below what results happen as a result of you taking those small shifts into your remarkable shift. Now, stay connected. Be sure to, the information is down below so that you can stay connected to the live show series and get your free gift. And then you'll be welcome into my community so that I can share these updates with you, because I am working on something. I'm super excited about it. It is about my private community group. Some of you are on the wait list. I have not forgotten about you. I know I have not opened the doors yet, but I am, because I was just on a call with my coach last night, and I got some different intakes and insights on how to approach this. And I was like, I'm so glad I waited. So I'm so excited, and stay connected. The information will be down below on how you can subscribe to the show while you're watching it, for free. Great. But when you subscribe, you get a free gift, you get insights, you get behind the scene things. So much is happening when you subscribe to the show. And thank you so much. And I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.